I feel like there are a million eyes on me, even when I'm alone, like I'm stuck in a nightmare. What's real and what's not? I can barely remember. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I was 16 when I was hospitalized. After several episodes of depression and mania, I was taken to the Priory, North London, and diagnosed with bipolar affective disorder, a mood disorder where you fluctuate between episodes of depression and mania. It can run in families and can be triggered by life events. I am now 29 and have lived with this condition for half of my life. I have lived with my anxiety disorder for most of my life, but it really started at age 15. I was so acutely anxious that I had to take 6 weeks off school during my GCSE year. I was suffering from an agitated depression, an episode that left me reeling. I was so young and so unwell. It was partly triggered by stressful life events, but what I didn't know at that time was that my anxiety and depression was part of a wider illness, bipolar disorder. I was hospitalized due to a severe depression that featured psychosis, where your mind loses touch with reality and can cause bad anxiety. I had delusions, false beliefs about the world, and a lot of fear. Luckily, I recovered after 4 months of treatment, left, and started taking regular medication, which began to help. However, the anxiety seemed to be ever present. As I had been so ill as a teenager with a whole host of symptoms due to my bipolar, I developed social anxiety and panic attacks. I was desperate to fit in and appear normal, as most teenagers are. I felt different. I was facing life with chronic illness. There was so much uncertainty. They couldn't just scan my brain to see what was going on. Taking medication was trial and error for me. Some worked and some didn't. Same with the therapies. The social anxiety was about feeling judged by other people, because I was judging myself wrongly for what had happened during my episodes. It impacted my self-esteem. I felt low about myself and didn't know why I had been given this illness and why it caused me so much embarrassment and shame at the same time. There was a stigma back in 2004, and even though it has lessened today, it still remains taboo. My social anxiety manifested a few years after I had left the hospital. I began to fear attending parties, dates, and social events with friends because I was afraid that I would be judged negatively. As a teenager, there was a lot of stigma from other teens about my illness. This made me feel depleted, sad, and angry. I didn't choose my brain chemistry, so why were they spreading false rumors about me and making me feel worthless? It was a difficult time for me, but luckily, I did also have a lot of love and support. My heart would race during an event like a birthday party in a club or bar and trigger an absolute state of panic. What if I wore the wrong clothes? What if everyone was judging me when I got there and thinking badly of me? I often would cancel on friends and not attend for fear of having to show up. I felt so vulnerable, and I didn't want anyone to see it. Part of the anxiety was because when you have bipolar episodes of mania and depression, it leaves you feeling ashamed of your behavior. For me, it was especially true with the manic episodes. However, I knew it wasn't my true personality, and I could not control my brain chemistry at the time it happened. Yet, my subconscious mind continued to trigger panic in social situations. I was lucky, and still am lucky today, to have a group of very supportive friends and family who helped me to get out more. This was exposure therapy. My mom or dad would take me out in the car, or friends would come to the house and coax me slowly out into the world again. Exposure therapy, moving slowly to expose myself to the situations I feared so much, is helpful to me, even today. At age 20, I began my first course of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, for the anxiety. I worked out with my therapist what the limiting beliefs holding me back were: fear of judgment, fear of being exposed negatively, as my mental illness made me feel so out of control. And I was asked to keep thought records of my negative thoughts during the times of panic attacks. For me, panic attacks manifested themselves as a sick, clammy feeling, a tight chest, overwhelming negative thoughts, and the fight-or-flight desire to run away from a situation or trigger. Though the CBT did not stop the anxiety or panic attacks, it gave me some tools to understand them. Over the years, I completed 3 courses of CBT until I gave up on it because my anxiety was so emotionally rooted and based in the subconscious that the cognitive approach was not working. For me, a combination of the following helps. Firstly, talking about any past traumas with my current therapist is so helpful and makes me feel grounded and safe. Secondly, meditation, particularly yoga nidra or apps like Headspace, help me be mindful of my breathing. Deep breaths help me combat the physical symptoms of anxiety and stress. Thirdly, exposure therapy is key to recovery. I find the more I go out accompanied, the more I feel able to do. It's a slow process, but a very helpful one. In 2014, after 10 years of being out of the hospital, I was hospitalized again for a severe manic episode with psychosis. This hospitalization caused a lot of anxiety and trauma, but during, I found art therapy incredibly helpful. It helped focus and calm my mind. Even coloring in a book helped me to filter out the stress and kept my mind calm. I suppose this is a form of mindfulness too, and I still love art today. Just know that if you currently experience anxiety and panic attacks, whatever triggers it, there will be something out there to help you. Whether it's therapy, medication, mindfulness, exercise, meditation, art, or exposure to the feared situations in small doses, you are not alone.